January 15th.
Flying was such a common everyday experience for me. I flew 100 flights a year at least.
When I woke up in the morning and there was like an inch of snow on the ground, and I was like, oh great, you know, New York just gets paralyzed with the snow and my flight's gonna be delayed. And
it started to stop snowing, and the sun started to come out, so I felt a little more confident that the flight was gonna be okay.
I just handed my ticket to the agent. She tore off my piece of the stub and handed it back to me, and I boarded.
I was in the front of the aircraft and stowed my belongings like I always do, and just sat in my seat and watched all the passengers board.
Tax 1549, runway 4, let's take off. Keep on 4718, avoiding runway 4, position, hold that for 131. Position, hold 4, you don't fly 4718. Keep on 4203, flight land 31, and 3601, traffic over. Flight land 31, you don't fly 4603.
I could feel us just taking off. I mean, a normal, typical takeoff, nothing unusual about it. Very smooth, very gentle, and I could just feel we were climbing.
Texas 1549, 700, climbing 5,000.
When 1549 took off, it was around out of 300-400 feet when he first initially contacted me.
Texas 1549, departure to contact, I maintain 15,000. Maintain 15,000, Texas 1549.
And basically they tell you the altitude leaving, what they're climbing up to.
I'm watching because, again, I'm in a window. I have to look out. It's just my thing. I have to see where I am. I know the geography of New York, so I recognize as we're going over the bay. I recognize as we're going up over the Bronx.
And I was seated on the right side of the airplane, so I thought, hey, let me look out the window. Let me see if I could see the Bronx and Yankee Stadium.
Here, Jug 2760, turning you right to 150. Jug 2760, climb maintain 10,000. 10,000, Jug 2760.
Everything felt smooth, so I felt comfortable enough to reach under my seat, get my bag out, pull out my book, and it was when I was pulling out my book and my head was down. There's no more engine noise, there's silence,
And I realized immediately that we were in trouble.
Cactus 1549, turn left heading 270. This is Cactus 1539, hit first, lost thrust on all patients returning side towards LaGuardia. Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading up 220. 220.
They say you only use like about 8% of your brain, but when something like this happens, I think it doubles. Just time goes so slow.
Tower, stop your departure, it's got emergency returning. I believe it's 1529. He bird strike, he lost all engine, he lost the thrust in the engine, so he's returning immediately. Cactus 1529, which engines? He lost thrust in both engines, he said. Got it. Cactus 1529, we can get it to you if you want to try to land runway 13. We made it in Hudson.
I smelled something that smelled like an electrical fire.
Someone behind me on the right said, the right engine's on fire. And then someone on the left said, no, the left engine is on fire. So now you're realizing it's the engines.
Oh, this is not good.
It's panic at that point.
Hi, Cactus 1549, it's going to be left traffic to runway 31. Unable. Okay, what do you need to land?
I looked out and saw the towers of the George Washington Bridge very close below us. Way too close.
Cactus 1549, runway 4 is available if you want me to left traffic to runway 4. I'm sure we're getting our way up. Once we're to our right, anything in New Jersey, maybe Teterboro.
I've never seen the Palisades on the right-hand side and the buildings on the left-hand side getting bigger and bigger.
You want to try to go to Teterboro? Yes. Teterboro, you're going to Park Sky Emergency inbound. Hey, got it. Cactus 1529 over the George Washington Bridge wants to go to the airport right now. What's going on, right? Check. Does he need assistance? Yes, it was a bird strike. Can I get him in for runway 1? Runway 1, that's good. Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro. We can't do it. Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro? We're going to be Hudson. I'm sorry, say again, Cactus?
But all of a sudden, the captain came on and he said, this is the captain, brace for impact.
The flight attendants went into a chant of heads down, stay down, brace, brace, brace.
Cactus 1549, radar contact is lost. You also got Newark Airport up at 2 o'clock in about 7 miles.
Adrenaline kicks in. I was hyper-focused on bracing and hyper-focused on prey.
I just think that my brain was preparing me for death.
What flashed before me was the life that wasn't going to happen. The grandchildren I wouldn't see grow up, you know.
My heart was beating I remember it was deafening. Like I couldn't hear anything because my heart was beating so loudly.
But at the very last, say 20 seconds or so after I said my goodbyes and I said my prayers, that's when I had the feeling that overcame me of peace.
Tango Alpha, looks like there's maybe an incident here. Two Tango Alpha, is he still flying?
Still flying.
Thank you.
Going down.
Somebody behind yelled, "Be ready to open those doors." When they screamed at somebody up by the door, said, "We got it."
Get the water.
Crazy scream sound.
For a couple of seconds, nobody did anything.
The captain came out and said evacuate.
I felt water around my feet immediately, and it was cold.
We just followed each other out, and I'm out on the wing I go.
You just jumped into the water like you jumped into a swimming pool. I just remember thinking, like, I can be cold compared to dead.
Other people are coming off, so I was slowly moving down the wing to make room for others. And I looked, and there were people walking on water. I guess I did die.
I remember very quickly looking down the river and seeing the first ferry boat coming towards us.
My crew took out 24 people. My deckhands were literally like grabbing them like fish and putting them on the deck.
We know people call this the miracle on the Hudson, but for an investigator, it was just a convolution of things that went right. Good training in the airline that was involved, good oversight from the FAA, a manufacturer that designed a very good and safe aircraft, and in the very end, they managed to land the aircraft successfully. Over 45,000 flights a day occur within the United States. The airspace system here in the U.S. is very complicated and very large. 2.9 million people fly every single day.
I remember walking off the plane and saying to the Jersey City fireman, "Did anybody die? Did anybody die?" And I remember him saying to me, like, "You know what? We don't think so. We don't think so." And I remember just thinking, like, no way, that's impossible.
We were given the gift of another day, another year. If you look at it that way, another lifetime. And by some miracle, we get to have it.